Have you ever met someone who could control a room without raising their voice? Someone who made people trust them instantly, obey them, even fear disappointing them? That's not luck. That's dark psychology. And whether you realize it or not, people use dark psychology tricks every single day. In friendships, in relationships, at work, online. The scary part? Most people never notice it happening. Today, you'll learn some of the most powerful manipulation psychology tactics and how people secretly use them to control emotions, gain power, and influence behavior. But remember, understanding these tactics protects you from becoming a victim. The first dark psychology trick is called emotional mirroring. This is one of the oldest psychological manipulation methods in human behavior. A manipulator copies your body language, your tone, your interests, and even your opinions. Why? Because your brain naturally trusts people who feel familiar. That's why some people seem perfect when you first meet them. They are studying you, matching you, building false trust. This tactic is heavily used in body language psychology, sales, toxic relationships, and social manipulation. The second dark psychology trick is silence. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. Manipulators know this. During arguments or conversations, they stay quiet long enough for the other person to panic and start over-explaining. The person talking begins revealing weaknesses, secrets, and emotions without realizing it. In human behavior psychology, silence creates pressure, and pressure makes people emotional. The third tactic is intermittent attention. This is one of the strongest forms of emotional manipulation. Someone gives you attention, then suddenly disappears. They become warm, then cold. Your brain becomes addicted to the uncertainty. This is the same psychological pattern used in gambling and social media addiction. You start chasing validation. That's why toxic people often become unforgettable. Your brain gets trapped in a cycle of reward and rejection. This is commonly seen in relationship psychology and toxic dating behavior. Another powerful dark psychology trick is forced urgency. Manipulators pressure people to make decisions quickly. They say things like, "Decide now. You're running out of time. This is your only chance." Why does this work? Because stress weakens logical thinking. Under pressure, the brain becomes emotional and impulsive. This tactic is used everywhere: marketing, relationships, friendships, and even scams. In manipulation psychology, controlling emotion is more powerful than controlling logic. Now let's talk about gaslighting, one of the most dangerous forms of psychological manipulation. Gaslighting happens when someone makes you question your own memory, emotions, or reality. They say, "That never happened. You're overreacting. You're too sensitive." Over time, the victim loses confidence in their own thoughts. And once someone doubts themselves, they become easier to control. This tactic is extremely common among narcissists and toxic people. That's why keywords like narcissist signs, gaslighting, and toxic relationships are exploding online right now. People are finally recognizing these patterns. Another terrifying dark psychology method is social proof manipulation. Humans naturally follow groups.
If everyone appears to support something, most people will follow without questioning it. Manipulators use fake popularity, fake confidence, and fake authority to influence behavior. This is why influencers, scammers, and toxic leaders often appear extremely confident. Confidence creates perceived truth, even when the person is lying. In human behavior facts, people are more likely to believe confidence than evidence. Now here's a tactic almost nobody notices: information control. A manipulator doesn't always lie directly. Instead, they hide certain information while revealing only what benefits them. This creates a false perception without obvious deception. It's subtle and extremely powerful. This tactic is common in toxic friendships, relationships, politics, and social media.
Another dangerous technique is love bombing. At first, someone gives overwhelming affection, compliments, gifts, and attention. It feels perfect. But the goal is dependency. Once emotional attachment forms, the manipulator slowly changes behavior. They become controlling, cold, or emotionally abusive. This pattern is common in relationship psychology, especially involving narcissistic personalities. The final dark psychology trick is fear conditioning. Fear is one of the strongest emotional triggers in the human brain. If someone connects fear to disobedience, rejection, or failure, they can influence behavior without force. That's why some people become afraid to express opinions around certain individuals. The brain learns to avoid emotional punishment, and eventually, control becomes automatic. That is the true power of dark psychology. Not magic, not mind reading, just understanding human emotion, fear, attention, and behavior better than other people. The good news? Once you recognize these psychological tricks, they become much weaker. Awareness destroys manipulation. And in a world full of hidden influence, awareness is power. If you enjoyed this video, comment which dark psychology trick shocked you the most. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more videos about human behavior, manipulation psychology, and psychological facts. Also, remember this. The most dangerous manipulators rarely look dangerous. Sometimes they look kind, calm, charming, even trustworthy. That's what makes dark psychology so powerful. The better someone understands human emotions, fear, insecurity, and attention, the easier it becomes to influence people silently. But awareness changes everything. Once you begin noticing manipulation tactics, toxic behavior becomes easier to detect. You start paying attention to patterns, to body language, to emotional pressure, to the way certain people make you feel after conversations. And that awareness can protect you from emotional manipulation, gaslighting, narcissists, and toxic relationships. Because the moment you understand the game, you become harder to control. Thanks for watching.